Hey everybody, thanks for taking a second to join me for today's 5 for 5. Hope you're having a great day already. Hey, think for a second back when you first learned to swim. How did that happen? Did you fall into a pool or did you go on family vacation? When I was a kid, we swam like once a year. It was at the Drama Motel in Cherokee, North Carolina. That was the time we got to swim, was on vacation. But for you, maybe it was a little different. Maybe you were raised on the river or on a lake, or maybe you had a parent who taught you how to swim. You know, the old story is, for a lot of kids, they learn to swim when their dads threw them in the deep end. Hopefully that wasn't you, and if it was, hopefully you are now past the trauma of that. But when you think about it, we learn a lot of lessons from swimming, and I think about when I taught some of my kids to swim. I would just kind of hold them underneath and just sort of pass them through the water, and they would do all the movements while they were learning to swim on their own. But there was one thing required to do that, and that was water. I couldn't teach them to swim on dry land. They had to get in the water. Well, there's an interesting passage in the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, and what Isaiah is doing in the whole entire book of Isaiah is he's prophesying to the people of Israel. It's about 750 years before Jesus would come, and the people of Israel were in just a gross immorality and sin. They had replaced God. They were worshiping other idols. They were as far from God as you could be, in active rebellion, just spiritual freefall. And so God sent Isaiah and some other prophets too to warn them and to draw them back to God's heart. Well, in Isaiah chapter 41, it's interesting because Isaiah shares an image here, kind of some imagery that involves water. And listen what he says. It's in it's actually Isaiah 43. I shared verse 1 a couple of weeks ago, where God says, "I have called you by name, you are mine." What an amazing truth that is. Well, the next verse, verse 2, God says to the people of Israel, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched, nor will the flame burn you, for I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior." What an imagery that is there, that when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. A lot of times when we go through those times in life that we would say we're being overcome, like a tsunami of trials and difficulties, sometimes we begin to think, if we're not careful, that God's just trying to drown us. Maybe he's mad at us, or maybe we did something wrong, or his grace ran out or something, and God's trying to drown us. Listen, he's never trying to drown you. You belong to him if you've given your life to Christ. He's not trying to drown you. Never would he do that. What he's doing in those times when you feel so swamped and overrun, like water is coming over your life and you're about to go under, he's not trying to drown you. He's trying to teach you, right? And sometimes the lessons that we learn in life about faith and about walking with Christ and about trusting him in the midst of any circumstance requires some deep water. Sometimes that deep water comes in the form of difficulties or financial struggles, or issues in relationships, or even our own health, or it could be 1,000 different things. But if you're in the midst of a time like that today where you feel like you're about to go under, and man, that water is coming over the bow of your life and you can't take on much more, if you've got questions about God and you belong to him, you know Jesus, just remember, he's not trying to drown you, he's trying to teach you. I couldn't teach my kids to swim. None of us learned to swim without water. And a lot of times we learn to trust God the most when we're in the deepest water. And so in the midst of your life today, whatever you may be facing, hey, God has you. He's with you. He's not brought you here to drown you, to put you under. He's brought you here to teach you. And so just let him know this morning that you trust him. And then walk and live in victory, knowing that God is in control, even of those things that seem so out of control in your life. Hey, I hope you have a great day today. God bless you.